Hi, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Today is Wednesday, June 15, 2022. It's about 7 o'clock in the evening on the East Coast of the United States. And I was going to start out by saying this is our regular Thursday guest, and Dr. Wallach is our regular Thursday guest, but because of commitments on my part, tomorrow he's kind enough to be here with us on Wednesday. Dr. Wallach is the world's foremost naturopathic physician, combining nature and science to address ailments that afflict human beings in ways that your doctor doesn't want to use and your doctor doesn't want you to know about. And Judging Freedom and our partner, judginghealth.com, one of Dr. Wallach's websites, will help you do that. So, Dr. Wallach, it's always a pleasure, my dear friend. Welcome back to Judging Freedom.
Well, thank you, Your Honor. It's an honor to be with you. I watched you for so many years on Fox, and so proud of you. It's an honor to be with you.
Thank you. And I'm proud of you, though we really didn't meet until we came together over Judging Freedom and Judging Health. So let's say I have some joint problems, and I think it's arthritis, and I go to my orthopedic surgeon, and he said, you know what, Judge, you're getting up there in years. Take this painkiller, go home, call me in a couple of weeks. What would you do if I came to you with those complaints?
Okay. We have to appreciate, well, doctors believe, because they're taught, that arthritis is either a genetic thing or an autoimmune thing, as could be related to aging. And none of that's true. Arthritis and osteoporosis are just simple nutritional deficiency diseases. There's one, rheumatoid arthritis, which has a complication of an infection with a bug called mycoplasma, which is curable in 2 weeks with an antibiotic called minocycline, like the little bait fish. But other than that, all forms of arthritis and osteoporosis are simple nutritional deficiency diseases. And just when osteoporosis of the skull, okay, just osteoporosis of the skull, which is in this book, there's 25 different diseases you get from osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the 12 pairs of cranial nerves and squeezing the spinal cord. And so osteoporosis of the skull affects things all the way down your back. It affects how many times you wake up in the middle of the night to urinate and all that kind of stuff. And doctors have no clue. They have no clue. And the reason I'm on this is because I was honored to be the pathologist on a $25 million project for NIH because they picked me because I found the first mass die-off in America from pollution, got it published in 1965 in veterinary journals. And so when they got this grant, they had to have a pathologist to do these autopsies, and they picked me because I found the first mass die-off in America from pollution. And that thesis, 20,000 autopsies in 10 years, is in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. I'm very, very proud of that, Your Honor. And it's crazy how much information is in there. Well, let's, if we may, you want me to start out with arthritis?
I want you to start out with arthritis. Okay. Tell us why the medical profession, which would send me home with some glorified aspirin, is wrong, and why what you would do is better, and what you would do and how it would not mask the arthritis, but cure it.
Okay. Well, you have to appreciate that arthritis and osteoporosis are just simple nutritional deficiency diseases. Women,
nutritional deficiencies,
yes,
meaning
sir.
I'm not, if I'm the hypothetical patient, I'm not eating enough of something.
You're not getting enough of something. Plants cannot make minerals, and minerals make up 2/3 of the 90 essential nutrients. Plants can make some vitamins, not all of them. They can make some vitamins. Nutritional minerals, Your Honor, do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like gold and silver. So it depends on where your food was grown. And that all started happening at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, on Pearl Street in New York City, in the bluff overlooking the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge, when Thomas Edison pulled the switch on electricity. Prior to that point, everybody's putting the wood ashes from their wood stove and their fireplaces into their garden, and the trees were sucking minerals up out of the soil. And so when you burned the wood, the ashes were 98% minerals and only 2 or 3% carbon. Put them in the garden, and the plants would suck up the minerals. You'd eat the plants and the vegetables and the tomatoes and corn and stuff, and you get those minerals. The same thing was true when you would put the wood ashes in your food as a spice. Okay, you got some minerals. Well, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, when they pulled the switch for electricity, by 18 years later, 1900, everybody's using electricity, no more wood ashes, no more minerals. And suddenly we had 45 new diseases that nobody knew about. And then it was a darling of the new science called genetics. So they said, oh, these new genetic diseases. They're just simple nutritional deficiency diseases because they switched over to electricity and didn't make up the difference when they gave up wood ash as a source of minerals. Okay.
So people weren't burning wood for light and heat. Therefore, they didn't have the ashes.
That's correct.
Therefore, they weren't putting the ashes in their gardens. Therefore, whatever's in the ashes, and you'll tell us in a few minutes, wasn't making its way into the vegetables that they were eating any longer.
That's correct.
Therefore, they suffered. And the geniuses in the medical profession said, it's genetic.
That's correct. Because they never like to say, I don't know yet. We'll find out. Okay. And of course, this book, Hell's Kitchen, tells the story of that switch from wood ashes to electricity. It's called Hell's Kitchen. It's named after that district in New York City where every bad thing happens. They call it Hell's Kitchen. And so that's why I use that title for that book. Okay.
So tell me what you would give me for this stiffness in my wrist that my hypothetical physician said, take 2 aspirin and call me in a week.
Okay. If you have any symptoms of arthritis or osteoporosis, which are widely varied, this means that you have nutritional deficiencies, okay, particularly minerals. And right now, we spend each year in America just to pay to treat the symptoms, in America annually. We're paying most of it through insurance payments to the doctors and the hospitals and so forth, $626.8 billion. $626.8 billion just to pay for the treatment of the symptoms. Doctors love arthritis because they turn the arthritis patients into a dairy cow and they milk them as often as they can. Okay. And so let's look at what's going on here. My favorite story for osteoporosis is Theo Ratliff. I met him when he was 24 years old, a great basketball player for the Atlanta Hawks. He was 24 years old. I was introduced to him by a great pastor from, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, that I had worked with for many, many reasons, and Creflo Dollar, and also Martin Luther King III. They introduced me to Theo Ratliff, and he had bone-to-bone arthritis in both knees. He's only 24 years old. He had a $35 million contract with the Atlanta Hawks. He also had, at the same time, he also had his cartilage slip off his right hip. He also had a fracture of his right wrist and a shooting arm. And so they took his contract and we say, look, you're a great shooter, you're a great defender, but you're so fragile. You have all these genetic diseases, where you just take your contract away because we can't have you being sick half the time or most of the time. And so
what did you do for him?
Okay, I created what we call the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack for him. The Healthy Bone and Joint Pack is the 90 essential nutrients which all of our tissues, including bones and cartilage and ligaments and tendons, need. And I added glucogel, which is the collagen from the cartilage from cattle. And so the glucogel and the Healthy Start Pack together form the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. And gave it to him twice a day because he weighed like 180 pounds, 190 pounds tall and skinny, almost 7 foot tall. I think he was like 6'11" or something like that. And within weeks, he was better. Within a month, he was cured. And after 3 months' time, he went back and he was examined by the team's doctors. They took him back. And he played for 11 years and made $100 million because he was using my products every day.
What would the team doctor say to him? How did you get better when I advised management to tear up your contract?
Well, all he would have to say is, here's what I'm taking. And the doctors would say, that's impossible. It's a genetic disease. Okay, so tell me what you're doing. Well, here's what I'm taking. It's impossible. It's a genetic disease. And so doctors have no knowledge about the nutritional needs of tissues. Okay. And Theo is just a wonderful guy, and he was good. He took some of that money he made and set up a organization for kids who wanted to play sports, and he taught them how to do a good diet and how to take the supplements properly, the healthy bone and joint pack. I also made a sports drink for him, which we sell a lot of. It's called Rebound. It has 100 nutrients, and it's not like Red Bull, which is just caffeine and sugar. Ours is Rebound. It has 75 minerals and 25 vitamins, amino acids in it. And it kind of not only gives you energy, but it's constantly rebuilding your tissues. Because when you're working hard physically, you're causing some damage. And so you're replacing those damaged cells and tissues with normal cells and tissues. And so that's how all this works. We're very, very proud of this. We do this, again, for professional athletes all over the world, every sport. We do this for Olympic athletes all over the world. We do this for university athletes, high school athletes, amateur athletes. And that's why it's one of our biggest sellers. It's double what we spend in America for treating the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. It's double what we spend in America for treating diabetes, which we're going to talk about next.
Before we go to diabetes, so use me as the example. My wrist is stiff, the joints hurt me. My doctor's saying, take aspirin or take Tylenol. And I go to judginghealth.com.
That's correct.
How do I find out from the website, judginghealth.com, what nutrient package is for me?
Well, it'll give you telephone numbers there, and you can talk to people, okay, and ask them. They're trained experts on this. And so you'll be able to talk with somebody and get some advice, and you'll get knowledge. And you'll pay the wholesale prices. If you go through us, you'll pay the wholesale prices. And if you get an auto ship, I will pay the shipping. So you'll save a lot of money. And so you're going to ask for the healthy bone and joint pack. And of course, I would now also add the MSM, which is this very specific supplement that actually rebuilds cartilage and ligaments and tendons and connective tissue. I only weigh 142, and I take 3 of those 3 times a day. That's 2 bottles a month of the MSM. I also take our collagen peptides, which is collagen from fish, poultry, sheep, and beef, and regrows cartilage and ligaments and tendons and connective tissue. I take a scoop of that in my drink in the morning and a scoop of that in my drink in the afternoon. I take vitamin D3. I live in California, but I'm inside in offices most of the day, so I really don't get enough sunlight. So I take my vitamin D3 capsules, 3 of those twice a day. And so I'm covering every base I can think of. And again, these people who will answer your questions on the phone and guide you through what's available and what each thing does, you don't pay them anything. I pay them, okay? And so it's one of those things where you're going to get all this information for free.
All right. Give us an analysis of diabetes. Somebody's coming to you, they're tingling in their feet, they have a belly they can't get rid of, whatever the symptoms of diabetes may be. The doctor says you have too much sugar in your blood.
Okay. Well, type 2 diabetes is a simple nutritional deficiency disease. There's 1 or 2 minerals, either 1 mineral deficiency or 2 mineral deficiency. So I always go for the 2. That way we're covering everything. You're always going to win. And then there's another type of diabetes called type 1 diabetes, which is a birth defect. When the babies are born, all OBGYNs and birth nurses that are delivering babies take samples of the blood from the umbilical cord when the babies are born, because they're looking for newborn babies that have type 1 diabetes, because they'll be able to put their kids through college if they find somebody with type 1 diabetes when they're born. Okay. And that's a birth defect caused by mothers being deficient in nutrients when the cells in the pancreas, called beta cells in the islets of Langerhans that make insulin, you're only going to have 6 per islet of Langerhans instead of 60. Okay, instead of 600, instead of 6,000. And so that's that problem. And then there's another type of diabetes called diabetes insipidus. And diabetes insipidus has nothing to do with diabetes mellitus and type 1 diabetes, but it's called diabetes insipidus because it has some of the same symptoms of thirst, dehydration, and polyuria, meaning instead of urinating out 1 quart of urine a day, those urinate out 20 quarts. And you really have to drink water all day. I mean, like every 15 minutes, you got to drink a pint of water. You'll get up 10 times at night, a half hour apart to urinate because of the polyuria. Keeps going even though you're asleep.
All right. I have a friend who was told he had type 2 diabetes,
Hmm.
and he had to have his leg below his right knee removed.
Okay. Well, the
When
doctor
is
should
that
go to
all?
jail. Well, the doctor should go to jail, Your Honor. Um, when they take the leg off, when they amputate the leg, that means that, okay, there's no hope here. There's nothing we can do. The blood supply is gone because you got plaque in your arteries going down in your legs. And so if you want to just be well and sleep at night, let's just take the leg off. And so, most people are so miserable when they have those issues that say, please take it off. I can't deal with this anymore. And of course, they'll write a prescription for a artificial leg. And so the patient's happy. They get a walker and a cane and an artificial leg. And of course, type 2 diabetes, we spend each year, again, $342 billion, about half of what we spend for arthritis. So if you have both diabetes and arthritis, you're almost at $1 billion, okay, in spending for your health, just to deal with symptoms.
So if my friend had come to you with his symptoms,
The odds are I would have saved his
about a
leg.
leg that wasn't working and a bit of a belly, what would you tell him? What would you prescribe for him? What would you do for him so that he would have 2 legs today?
Okay. Well, he would get the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack with the MSM added to it and the collagen peptides and the vitamin D3 for the arthritis. And then, because he has a blood supply problem to that leg, probably is why the leg was not doing well.
Yes.
And so he needs the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, which will support healthy blood flow through blocked arteries and get rid of high blood pressure and let the arteries heal. And so I'd get him on I'd kind of go to a little bit bigger pack. I'd go to the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack with the collagen peptides, the glucogel, okay, and I would throw in the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, 3 of those twice a day, 2 bottles a month, to get the blood flowing into that leg, and to change the diet. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no gluten. When I say no fried foods, I mean no deep fried foods, no air fried foods. Even air fried foods are bad because they heat the fat into frying temperatures, which then causes trans fats and heterocyclamine acrylamides, which causes inflammation, which causes the plaque in the arteries.
Right.
Okay, so I can reverse all that.
Boy, how I wish, I'm obviously not going to use his name or his profession, but how I wish I had known of you and he had known of you before, obviously, they removed the leg, which is utterly irreversible. What is the medical community, which makes a fortune off my friend, think of somebody like you and your company, which saves lives and saves a fortune and saves people from the misery of enduring something they don't have to endure?
Well, they've learned that it's better they don't talk about me, because when they talk about me, people go look me up and ask me questions. And I'm on the radio, 2 days or 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday. I'm working with you now. I'm just so honored to be working with you because of your connections and the people we're going to help a lot of people. That's my thing. I have to pay for my own products. Even though I own the company, I pay for my own products. I don't get it for free. I don't take a check from my company. I don't get paid for my own company. I make my living by selling books. Okay. And so that way people can't say, oh, you're just wanting to sell your stuff because that's how you make your checks. No, that's not true. I purposely set it up that way so they couldn't say that. And okay.
Well, doctor, it's always a pleasure to chat with you. Next week, what diseases will you discuss, or haven't you decided yet?
Oh, yeah. We can talk about next week. We can talk about heart disease and obesity.
Okay.
Two that kind of go along together and very, very important. We
Very
spend
good.
each year for heart disease $316.8 billion a year for just to treat the symptoms of heart disease. And obesity, we pay somewhere between $210 and $260 billion just to, again, treat the symptoms of obesity, but don't cure it.
The numbers are staggering. You can see the website on the screen, judginghealth.com. You'll find a wealth of information there. You'll find very knowledgeable, very sweet, very caring people that will help you navigate through the website so that you can purchase what's good for you and what's bad for your doctor. Dr. Joel Wallach, a pleasure, my dear friend. Until next week, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's such a great privilege to be working with you. God bless.
Thank you. Judge Napolitano for Judging Freedom.